Hi there, how's it going? This is the first of the Reddit League. I'm playing Sixnap, who as you can see is vastly better than me, so that will be interesting. And it's a 60-minute game, despite the 90-minute clock. Let's get in now. I play as USA in this league game. Apologies for the mic cutting out in the last game. I have switched back to my... Gosh, that's a USSR hand. I've switched back to my input mic, and I'm holding it closer to my mouth, so apologies if it's now very loud. So this is the first of two games I'm playing tonight. So I've got to make sure this game moves ahead nice and quickly. So I've got no way of dropping DEFCON. I have got socialist governments, but my hand's sufficiently weak that I'm prepared to overprotect Italy and maintain Italy in Europe. So 4-4-2 will be my starting setup. This is going to be a hell of a game. So 4-4-2. So I guess I'm highlighting defectors, headlining defectors. This is a pretty brutal hand. So I'm going to want to hold D style. If I get purged, I'm losing West Germany. I play socialist governments for neutral. I have to space decol unless I get purged, in which case I hold decol and space D style. I'm unlikely to be purged with defectors, obviously, unless he's really smart and purges me on turn 1. I've got to play Romanian application as quickly as possible. I ideally want to play Vietnam revolts and then coup Vietnam. Suez Crisis I probably have to eat, given my decol D-style issue. I've got a space decol anyway, obviously, because I'm short cards. So Formosan Resolution is the only 2 ops I have liberty to play with, which is ghastly. So I'm already fearing for my life, and Sixnap obviously is a very effective player, and he's already played Independent Reds, just for good measure. So that's a delight. So I will play into Pakistan and make him coup there. And then I can coup back. Right. Okay, so, yeah. He's going to want to play into Iraq, Pakistan, and fork Iran. That's what his game is. So playing into Pakistan is best. Although he's likely to coup and then let me re-coup, and then he's still got a chance to realign. So a bit of DEFCON racing here would be good for me as well. But I'm just not exactly rich in ops. But I need to level up the Asia count in case he plays Asia scoring immediately, and I want to protect Iran. And if he plays the China card straight off the bat, I suppose I'm fine with that. And I'll play 1 into Iraq if he does that to get access the other way. I hope you can hear me okay after the success of the last recording. So since both players are better than me, I'm even going to try card tracking, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so he's gone with the coup, probably a Pakistani, yeah, and he succeeds pretty handsomely. At this point, I am going to resolve Vietnam revolt and coup it. And I do spectacularly. I just don't have a surfeit of ops here, really, so it's already problematic. This game may be over before it begins, the way it's going. But we will see. I'll do my best. I'm not a quitter. But it is going to be very uphill already. So he didn't purge me, fearing defectors, which was wise. And now he's got access. Oh boy. So I guess I play Romanian abdication to shore up Iran and make him coup me again. What do I coup Iran? No, I think what I do is I play Suez. 1, 2, 3. Removing Israel and only losing a bit from the UK. And that way I play Suez for a net neutral instead of a net loss. So he may try coupping Iran again. Now I've got access to Egypt. I need to push through into Libya, but I've already kind of given up on Asia so soon into the match. Once we can get rid of de Gaulle, I would hope to try and at least take Europe for positive. I may be being overly negative, but that was a real sucker of a starting hand. Still, it's always good fun. It also makes me think Asia scoring isn't in his hand, as he may have rushed to play it. Otherwise, he would have given me another crack at Vietnam, although he'd still have domination, so I'm not expecting him to hold scoring cards this turn, to be honest. I know that the probability is high because I didn't start with any. He may drop Europe at some point, obviously, and he had a plan from the start. He must be thinking over what to do on his next turn, and obviously we see it resolve in real time. Because I don't think he's dwelling on what to do with Suez Crisis, given he only has one option. So he's thinking, do I realign Iran rather than drop DEFCON at a +1? That's probably what he's thinking. He might be thinking, or do I event NASA? Although that gives me a chance to quit. No, he'll be thinking about realigning Iran at a +1, I suspect. That'll be on his mind. So yes, I mean, this is the hilarious American curse where you get both decol and D-style, but you can't actually hold them through till turn 3. Given that I have no access, I'm not in France yet, and therefore no access to West Germany, I also have to give up D-style to blockade, so they may both go back into the deck. What little hope I have is that decol spaces on the 50-50 and I at least get 2 VP out of it. Otherwise this is going to be a very uphill struggle. At least with the US-Japan Pact, it's never the USSR who gets control of Asia. America sometimes wangles it, but USSR very rarely does. But I think Asia domination is pretty sure. So let's see, does he go with the realignment? No, he goes with influence, but into Iraq, I suspect. He's making sure he's got presence as well. So we strip these out. So now I have the dilemma do I coup to drop DEFCON so that he can't play any funny business? Which seems reasonable, because I can then space decol and end up with an empty socialist governments round. I think I do that. Answers on the back of a postcard if this is a terrible idea. At least I clear out Iraq, that's hilarious. Lucky. But that's that. So we may get a space round now. Depending on what... Oh, so event NASA is very wise, very sneaky. So I space decol. I do get the points, which I desperately need. So depending on where he socialist governments, I would expect him to take 2 out of West Germany to put me under more pressure. But if he takes 1 out of Italy, I'll leave it at 3. He has got Asia scoring. Right, so I event socialist governments and let him decide where he takes them from. If he takes 2 out of West Germany, I have to put them back in. The other one I probably move into Iraq in a bid to make sure I don't lose all access. Because if he coups Iran next term, things are not looking hot. Yeah, so 2 out of West Germany, very smart. So I'll put 1 into Iraq as well. So he'll know I'm holding D-Stal. The spacing will have proven that. So, duck and cover will have to be my headline here, which gets me the points and prevents an Iran coup. And then I can try and race Iraq for Libya for domination. I also have the chance of flipping Pakistan with Indo-Pak War, and he's already lost Israel, so I should also get the Milops this turn by headlining duck and cover. So I'm going to go with that. You never know, I might get lucky. He might be completely insane and headline Olympic Games for a chance. Let's see, I lost track around Suez. So East European unrest has been and gone. Then Romanian applications out the game. NASA's out the game. Decol went to space and will return. Asia scoring came out and won. He's taking France. That's unfortunate, and he'll get domination. So turn 2, de Gaulle goes. Second cover gets played. So yes, he'll be taking France, and then, because I've got, so Red Scare's out, so yes, if he's not got NATO, I can ops race him with Marshall and US Japan. There's another person trying to talk to me on Steam, so do disregard. Yeah, so he takes France, understandably. He did have NATO. So I'll respond, and unless he's got Truman, he's going to be relatively freaked out. But I'm prepared to do a bit of ops rating and or force him to give up the China card. I'm probably getting tunnel vision here. So answers on the back of a postcard there. Let me know if that was a wasted op investment since he already had the upper hand. In retrospect, on having done it, I immediately think so. He's giving up the China card. That's something. And he's overprotecting. He's had enough of that. So I'll try and get my mill ops, and if I'm lucky, flip Pakistan, which I do. Thank goodness for small favours. And then CIA, UN, op into Iraq. And then Middle East scoring to try and break even, although he can now score Europe at a nice advantage. Yeah, so, yeah, fighting for France was probably silly, wasn't it? I probably should have put some into Spain, Portugal, Greece, and the UK and just denied domination. But I got greedy! So let me know what you think. Okay, so I do have to ditch D-Style. So he's managed to get both back in the deck. Especially with France lost, I'm not giving up West Germany as well. So he's trying to flip Korea the old-fashioned way. He fails, that's lucky, but I just have to play Middle East neutral. So he's probably going to headline Europe scoring, which would be wise. And Warsaw Pact still not out, so he can flag up exactly what he has. He's got NORAD. Nuclear test ban? Did we see NTV? No, we saw Red Scare Purge in turn 1. So he's got NTB. We saw UNI go in turn 2. D-Style go in turn 2. So I've got options. I can either defector, and he might play Europe scoring thinking, well, he's probably not drawn defectors. He's got containment, so he'll play that on AR6. I played Marshall in turn 2, probably poorly. He played NATO in turn 2. I've got OG and Truman. He's got CNS. He's got Europe. I've got a 5-year plan. He played Korean War. He's got Warsaw Pact, Europe, Warsaw, Nazi, containment, nuclear test ban, NORAD is his hand. So he's got nuclear test ban for ops, containment in turn 6. He'll event CNS. If we see Warsaw Pact go and not event, then there's a chance that I could be pushy and get into East Germany in the hopes of it not coming back out later. So, defectors for the Europe scoring headline. All purge to make his life difficult. Because apart from NTB, he does not have a lot of ops. But if I play NTB, if I play Red Scare Purge and he doesn't headline Europe scoring, what's he going to headline otherwise? CNS is an option. He's really only going to headline CNS or Europe scoring. for fear of defectors, it's likelier to be CNS. But then do I want to deny CNS? Not so much. So I guess purge and then race for countries before he gets a chance to score it. Because he's only really got Warsaw Pact otherwise. I at least have a surfeit of ops, so I'm not going to complain this turn. So, I'll be vexed if it's Europe scoring. But if it's Europe scoring, he has to play it on turn 1 and give me the coup. So I'm better off defectoring. It was CNS, that's fine. 2 and defector, so he either plays... Europe scoring straight off the bat and gives me a coup, or he takes a coup and gives me a chance to country race, and I've got the ops for it. So he's taking the coup, Iran. And of course that means he can flip Indo-Pac later if he wants to. But I start country racing to deny him domination, and I will get there. So we'll see what his other card is, and when he decides to play Europe scoring. Because he can choose to ops race, but he's only got Warsaw and NORAD, and he doesn't really want to activate NORAD. So he's going to try for a little while. Oh no, he's moving straight into Africa. And he's overprotecting Korea. I'm going to give him China back to neutralise that threat, and I'm going to try and push into India and Burma, although that still makes Pakistan flippable. So NTB went in 3, and Warsaw... Oh, he's got Middle East scoring as well. So we know what his other card is now. We now know his hands. Europe scoring, containment, NORAD. And one other. Anyway, what options do I have? Warsaw Pact's gone. So I could overload East Germany and then Truman Doctrine him. He's got NORAD for the moment. So for now, let's push into India. Although that gives him an incentive for Europe. So Comicon's the wrong option just there for now. So the other option is Red Scare Purge Truman Doctrine. He then has to play NORAD or containment, which gives me the opportunity to do more mad opting. This is really silly with Warsaw Pact not on the deck. But it's also an opportunity, if he doesn't respond immediately, to score Europe at 0 and or gain domination. Let's give that a blast. It's good for a lark, if nothing else. I didn't feel super hot about this game anyway. So Reds get purges out in 3. I expect to see NORAD before containment here, but he maybe feels sick about doing both. He may drop Europe at 0. In which case, I do Truman Doctrine. I'm basically making him salt Warsaw Pact, which is a lot better than him salting a bunch of other stuff. Or if he responds now, I can play 5-year plan and then Comic-Con in a bid to keep pressure on East Germany before Truman Doctrining. And I guess he knows I've got Truman because it didn't come out earlier in the game. So he knows I'm holding Truman and kind of has to respond. No, he plays Europe scoring for 0. So I will play Truman and basically force him to salt to boot me out of East Germany. That's one for the future. So he ditches Europe scoring and I ditch Truman. So he's still got containment and NORAD to play. He's spacing NORAD. He flubs, which is good for me. So I'll now move into how many countries? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, country count's not a major issue for him. It's about how to work up the country count, really, to try and snag domination quickly. I mean, I can't flip Thailand without the China card anyway, so moving into Malaysia is probably a waste. I want to move into India so I can then play 3 ops. Yeah, so I play into India 2 and Indonesia 1 to play 3 into those next turn. Which gives me a country count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to his 4. So he does have to respond in country count. So Comic-Con leaves the game. So still expect to see containment on AR6. Which gives me 4 ops, of course, to play with, which is a bonus. I'd expect him to take Laos, Cambodia, and Malaysia to try and raise countries. I might put the 4th op into Panama to make it slightly, marginally less curable. Of course, he won't play containment if he has a... I mean, if he's got... Oh, no, yeah, I mean, I expect to see containment next term. So, it looks like I'm going to leave early war with USSR at -6. That's only slightly below par, and 6-nap is a better player, so I can live with those things. Absolutely. He hasn't expanded into mid-war regions, although Decol and D-Style are still in the deck. So he won't give me containment. So I'll put one in Finland, and one in Austria as well for realignment potential in future. So that gives me domination, if it comes out early, but renders India and Pakistan vulnerable to Indo-Pakistan war, but only one as bad as the other. And Japan can still level things up. And I need to take it against the China card. And domination is the first thing. So I am satisfied with that, I think. So Marshall Plan's gone. 5-year plan comes out in turn 3. And we move on to mid-war. Alright. So Missile Envy is bad when he headlines Duck and Cover. And when he headlines We Will Bury You and gives me Duck and Cover. There's not a lot of nuclear subs targets. And I am prepared to gamble. At this point, I'm going to have to gamble to beat this guy anyway. I'm going to event Pope John Paul later on. So I'm going to gamble. So I'm hoping if he does headline We Will Bury You, he's got ABM treaty as well. Or Muslim Revolution. That would be fine, because it keeps my foothold in the Middle East. But we will see. I feel at this point I need to roll the dice. I'm very slightly behind and he's a better player. I think I did flub up really focusing on France the way I did. That was rather foolish in retrospect, but the dice cast. And if John Paul gets his way, then I'm taking most of Eastern Europe, Italy. Okay, so he's checking for scoring cards, which I don't have. So that turned out alright for me. And he's going to have to give me a high op card, or at least reveal what his highest op card is if I don't see a 4. He may even be forced to give me containment, which would be delightful. But that's a little too optimistic. Obviously, I get Space Decoy. I'm glad that that came back to my hand. I'm undeserving, but I'll take it. Gives me a series, so I get the China card. Fine. And he coups with Missile Envy. Goes to Panama. Clears me out. That could be a lot worse. So Assyria's gone. And Missile Envy gets played in 4. So I don't need to do a lot of damage with the China card just now. I don't have any of the war cards, so Flower Power I can just go ahead with. Middle East scoring's been played. So I suppose my primary objectives are take Burma and Malaysia to push up country count, I guess. I can expand into Africa as well, I suppose. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. So I only need one more country, so I don't need to take Malaysia. Although it gives me access to Thailand, which he has to respond to now I have the China card. And I'll accept the hippie curse. I'll push into Zaire next turn. I'm going to have to take Mexico. South America is problematic, but puppet governments may come off. So we will see about that. So we haven't seen Brush War, Junta, or ABM, which are the big cards. We haven't seen Voice of America or Grain Sales yet, which are my power cards. If you're going to track cards in mid-war without a piece of paper or looking through the discard pile constantly, those are really the ones to do, certainly. So special relationship's no good to me with NATO not activated, although it's now activatable as a result of Marshall Plan coming out. So let's see what he's doing. Overprotecting, he'll be OPECing as well. So my next job, I guess, is to push into Zaire. I'm going to put one in Malaysia as well to flatten out the country count for scoring. That's only a 1-point swing. But I don't really want to put a single one in Mexico, because that does make it brush warable, which it's not at the moment. It's going to be brush warable with 2 in, though. I need to protect against liberation theory, which may yet come out, of course. So, food for thought there. Still got plenty of time on the clock, thankfully. 42 minutes. Yeah, we're on in Mexico. Fidel came and went in turn 1, so it's due to make a return. So Formosa resolution. 4. I've got to add some to South Africa. I'll space decol, obviously. Play Brezhnev on turn 7. Okay, so he's going to start pushing into South America, so maybe my prerogative here is to give him the China card back and make some serious realignments. Because I'm realigning at a -1, and I really want to clear him out. Plus he can't flip an awful lot with the China card. So let's go with that. Nope. Yep. Another one of those, please. Perfect. And at a -2. Bonus. So he's now got to respond to Algeria. That's lucky for me. Still got D-Style to come. And of course it did cost me the China card. But to some extent that has to be done. Okay, so he's going to shore up Algeria. Sensible. So Allende and Summit out. Allende's gone. Summit in turn 4. So I'll start with taking... Oh, I suppose I want to hold special relationship in case he activates NATO. Although it's going to cost me a lot of ops to both take the UK and... Whoa! Hello. Sorry. I'm used to playing this on my phone, for the record. So any weird zooming and madness is entirely due to me having a hard time navigating on the laptop. So I need to find an opportunity to space decol. Brezhnev on turn 7. I can keep hold of nuclear subs. I want to activate John Paul as well. Although, of course, I don't need to activate John Paul on turn 7, already holding East Germany. Although that then makes Warsaw way more saltable. So he is going to brush war. Will he brush war Mexico? No, he's going for Pakistan, which fails. That's lucky for me. So I will space decol. Fails. Fine. In a way, that's good, because if he's got one small step, he now doesn't get to the 2VP square. He wouldn't, because he's not off the mark. Yeah, he would have had this space and then one small step. Disregard. He's spacing Bear Trap. Doesn't want to end up in that. He fails as well. His space program is not going to plan. So I'll AR6 John Paul him to force him to respond. He has to respond to that, because then if I do some crazy shenanigans in France, like a SALT ABM treaty realign at +2, once I take the UK again, if I take the UK again. So I expect to see him retake Poland. No, so he's going for the OPEC factor, which is worth 4 now. It's now not worth me playing, really. And Muslim Revolution punts me out of Iraq when it comes. 2 incidents gone in 4. So I finish my action round with Brezhnev Doctrine. So I've got options. I can pump it all into Poland. I can pop one in Africa to threaten domination, which I quite like, because then he kind of has to coup Africa instead of Central America. Although if I'm going to put one in, I should put it in the other side of Cameroon in order to push into Africa. And then the last one, I can put one in Poland, I can put one in the UK in case he triggers NATO. I think I prefer the UK because I've already got domination in Europe and I don't want him to be even more attractive to the idea of salting Warsaw. So he's up to +8. Thanks to Milops, which I couldn't muster. Duck and cover is a DEFCON suicide risk because we will bury you still out. I can take the China card back with Nixon, which probably is the most attractive start of all of those. So I would expect to see, what I expect to see is the headline here. Either, really, we will bury you, or ABM treaty. Muslim revolution is probably not worth it right now, although it does threaten to... if he does that, I have to play into Israel to prevent control. So we'll see. Because of the suicide risk, I can't play duck and cover. I simply can't. Or the game's dead right there. So I think I'll just take the China card off him and make him play Cultural Revolution to take it back off me. Which is the safe bet. It's a bit bland. Okay, so I really want to hold Arsenal. So he flips Angola that way, and that makes Mexico more attractive as a coup target. Although he'll probably coup Zaire. In which case I take Angola and try and deny him domination. Yeah, so only 1 point for Alliance for Progress. I took Nixon. Portuguese Empire Crumbles came out. Yeah. Excuse me while I tot up. So Africa's got domination with 4. So my options are something like that to deny domination for the time being, and also threaten flipping or realigning Angola. Which I think I'll do. So, still no ABM or junta, still no VOA or grain sales. So I want to hold Arsenal for the lone gunman risk and play the rest of these. Willy Brandt's actually playable because I've got 1 extra in West Germany. Socialist government is my space option. So I may even hold nuclear subs as well. Okay, so he's overprotecting, which suggests not a lot, I suppose. I can't really play into Cuba while Fidel's still a risk, because he'll just wipe me straight back out. So I'm going to offer him tempo and space socialist government. So he's going to try and flip Pakistan again. Still doesn't get there. Unlucky for him. Just to show I don't want any funny business, I'm going to shore up Asia a little more. I also want to overprotect South Korea now while I think about it, because I usually forget, in case it comes to Cal 007 later on. So Willy Brandt is out. He IPW'd me again. It's unlucky for him, I managed to flip Indo-Pakistan on a 1-er. And he tried in 4 and 5. 3 and 5? Okay, so he gives me Asia scoring, which is lovely. I need to get some nil ops. So I'm going to coup South African states. With Eastern European unrest. I may play into Poland just to ram the point home. At least if he does Warsaw Pact, I can drive for East Germany before he riposts, so he has to headline it, really. So he's got to head, and he's got to space that, which misses. Sales goes in 5. So do I push on Algeria and make him respond? Quite like that. I mean, if he triggers NATO, I pump in France. Temporarily break control. Now Fidel's gone, that's attractive as well. Still looking for a puppet government handout, if I can. So on round 7, I'm probably going to play into Guatemala and Cuba to get presence-less domination, and if he tries to coup Mexico, I've got a 2-1 realign. That does just enough to stop me doing both of those things. So 2 in there, 1 in there. Basically, I'm saying if you coup Mexico, I'm going to try and realign you straight back out. And I keep hold of Arsenal. So containment is dead. Nuclear subs went. So Southeast Asia scoring is currently him at a -1. I can play We Will Bury You to drop DEFCON, because I have UN intervention, which I can play on OPEC. And I've got Sadat to start pressuring the Middle East again. I've also got puppet governments to expand into South America, so this is a nice hand for me. Lots of potential. The DEFCON droppers are all gone, though, sadly, so I can't force him into... Can't force him into DEFCON suicide. But this is a pretty sweet hand for me. After a pretty lousy turn 1, things have definitely been turning my way, which I feel grateful for. Unfortunate, of course. He made Cuban Missile Crisis me to force me to take 2 out of West Germany and defend, in case he coups Cameroon, to flip Algeria. I think in order to force DEFCON down, We Will Bury You is the best move, and suits me better. I won't be spacing much this turn, so he might space and one small step me, but I have to live with that. Yeah, I like We Will Bury You, because the other option is it gives him a coup, and he's got ABM treaty, possibly, and junta. At least this denies coups. So, yeah, let's go for it. Let's use We Will Bury You against him. Okay, so he's pushing in the old-fashioned way. I'll take Panama. And probably 1 in Mexico. So I've got Panama Canal to break Panama again. 1 in Mexico is not very attractive, Jim. Although you can put 3 ops into it and hope to avoid realigning it. -1. But I'm really looking to puppet government into South America and try and take as much of that as possible before he has riposte. And I expect to see junta from him, since I'm still not holding it. It's getting increasingly likely he is. So we've each used half our clock and we're just starting the second half of the game. So we're doing good at clock management. Obviously coup wars in Africa I can fight back against as well. Again, I'm still going to try and hold Ars Not, which means UN interventioning OPEC means I have to give him the China card back, which is annoying, but obviously nothing's flippable with China, although it gives him room to avoid CIA. It's a question whether or not I want to hold the China card to protect against my lone gunman. Maybe go Mexico. Oh, he might have missed We Will Bury You. He did not, that's good, he's not that silly. Whew. So I will play you an intervention, and I'll coup. Do I coup back? I can, so I'm +2 there, aren't I? So I just say it's up to you to try and realign me. So 1, 2, 3 for domination. Why not? And then I can Panama Canal into break Panama if he doesn't do anything drastic. Okay, so he's South Africa unrest 6, IU and intervention 6 with OPEC. I mean, I was lucky to get I was lucky to, there it is, 6. I was lucky to get OPEC because he's done well taking a lot of Middle East. So the cards have run against him, as of the dice with Indo-Pak War. And Brush War. Yeah, he's definitely been unfortunate. So at some point I want to try and drop him off into Malaysia to make it 0. So he's bagging the points. But right now I want to put him under pressure in Central America. If he doesn't take Panama back, then I do kind of want to use Ars Not to flip Panama for control. I mean, he has to respond to that, really. Another option to use the China card is if I put puppet governments in, then 5 ops gets me all of South America, and he may not have time to respond. But if I give him China, I have to hold Ars Not, because of lone gunmen. See, I don't want to try and make his life difficult with CIA creating, make my own life difficult with lone gunmen, which I'd have to ditch before turn 8 in case he Aldrich aims me without holding the China card, because I've certainly lost the game that way before. Still need a coup at some point, obviously, to redress the balance. I'd kind of like to see Camp David by him before playing Sadat, so that I flip Egypt in a 1-er. But even that doesn't change domination, so Sadat might be something I play for a coup and hope to see it come back in the reshuffle, although in turn 6, our man in Tehran is clearly the coup option because of the reshuffle coming up. He's got D-style, so he's trying to race me to South America. And he denies puppet governments with those 3, unfortunately. So in order to balance South America, I kind of have to play the China card there. So I have to hold Ars Not. I'm happy with that. So I wasn't so lucky I got D-style and D-call back, which is fine, that's understandable. Now he's got the China card. If I get Cultural Revolution, I just give up the point. So Umit will put 1 into Colombia, or maybe 2 into Uruguay. It's harder to coup and gives me access to Argentina. good thing he played D-Star when he did. That was well surmised by him. That's rendered puppet governments less attractive as well, obviously. So Mitt and Puppet become my coup cards, and Sadat goes back to being an eventable card. So he's given me US-Japan. That only cost him 2 ops now. So he's either worried about Camp David or he's going to Muslim Revolution me. So, I think for omit, I put 1 into Malaysia to level up the country count and 1 into Israel in case of Muslim Revolution taking Iraq. I then have to play some fast moves. So US-Japan is gone. Arman in Tehran gets played for ops. He tries spacing Camp David. He fails again. I feel for his cosmonauts. I learned today, useless piece of trivia. China's space program, they are taikonauts. I think I learned that a couple of days ago on a TV show. So happy to share that piece of trivia with you, even if you don't really care. So Southeast Asia scoring's gone at a neutral. So I'm eventing Sadat in turn 7, so my coup target is probably Guatemala. There's nothing more attractive on the board now. So he's probably going to salt Warsaw Pact. Yep. That's very understandable by him. Oh yeah, obviously, it did just occur to me he salted. Doi. So Defcon will be very high next turn. Very quick there, so worried about Milops, I forgot about the effect of salt. So salt's gone, Warsaw Pact is back. He's cooing with CIA, which is wise. IQ straight back with it. He's avoiding Defcon suicide. Yep, okay, so he has got both. So he's got Muslim. Now he has Warsaw as well. Let's mark that up. He's got Muslim. He's got Warsaw. Salted. Okay, so I guess we know what we're seeing headline next turn. I'm going to just coup back. Am I going to coup back with that? Or do I coup with my... Yeah, the alternative is cooing with Arsenal, which is unattractive. So what have I got? A 50% chance he stays in. Let's roll the dice. Decent result. I'll leave it clear. So I'll event Sadat to put the Middle East under pressure. Sadat's gone. CIA has gone. So I still think he's in the ascendancy. Ascendancy. I do have Lone Gunman, but I also have Junta. So I can try and force Defcon and get control of Central America. And may be able to try and score Africa at not too much. So he's going to headline Warsaw Pact, we know that. So he's got to play into Europe afterwards. So I would probably play into Panama and coup it in a bid to make him presenceless when I score, for him to retake Europe. Okay. Let's go with Junta. He's got ABM treaty, because we're into the reshuffle, aren't we? So let's work this out. He's got Central America scoring. Oh, we're not in the reshuffle yet. There's one left in the draw pile. Gosh. So he's probably got Swim, Cuban Missile Crisis. He's quagmiring me. So I will coup Panama as well. Okay, lucky for me. So I start with Arab-Israeli War. Che's not very attractive because of the Cameroon, Central America thing. I expect him to play Warsaw Pact and then take it while I'm quagmired, but he may start to worry about all the other things. So he's got Cuban Missile Crisis, he's just quagmired me. He's got How I Learned to Stop Worrying. He's not got one of these, mind. He's ABM treating, of course, of course. He does alright, but not brilliantly. I get out of the trap. So he's got to take Panama straight away. ABM treaty goes in 7. So I expect him to take Panama. Yeah. Yeah, he's still got Muslim Revolution, so I'll give him a point for Cultural Revolution. Put one into there to threaten as well, and break Panama. What's the alternative? Africa's currently scoring 2. Well, I'll keep him under pressure. He wants to event Warsaw Pact, and he wants to event Muslim Revolution, and I want to try and make it relatively difficult for him. So, and we're pre-reshuffle, so I'm gonna. I'm gonna have a situation where I can arsenal all these stuff, and Lone Gunman might still come back in the reshuffle. And I probably want to try and space shade to get to the 2-point square. As soon as I cash one of those scoring cards, he's gonna event one of his 2 regional trouble cards, which makes my life trickier. It's only a 3-point swing for those 2 ops, so it's probably marginal. So Cultural Revolution is gone. Cuban Missile Crisis got played for ops. Okay, so he's playing Muslim Revolution for influence. So I can live with that because Iraq's safe from Muslim Revolution now. So my next job is to play Africa, I think, at -1. Although I'm still going to have to arsenal something. The thing is, if I'm going to arsenal, I might as well keep all my bum cards for a while to ditch. Because the other option is I play arsenal for the ops and hope it comes back to a deal with Lone Gunman. Bleh. Okay, Central America scoring 4 points. If he does anything funny with Warsaw Pact, I could always use Che to pump. Now, he's got South America, which he plays at neutral. So at this point, I think I space Che to try and get the 2 VTs. Which I get, that's lovely. Space has been very kind to me. I don't have an African coup area, just realised. Boy, oh boy. So I asked not, because I want Lone Gunman out my hand and I may redraw it. I'll ditch Africa because it's a -1, and Lone Gunman I'll keep 1 small step because I think the average ops is 2. And I get grain sales for next turn. That's not bad. So Ask Not has gone. Africa scoring went in 7. South America scoring went in 7. Shay went in 7. Voice of America went in 7. OAS Founded hasn't come out yet, which he's probably holding. Puppet Governments went in 6. So he's got to give me Colonial Regards. That's a delight. So where does it go? One there to offer a coup. One there. I don't know, I suppose I want to make Angola flippable. Something like that. That looks fine. Always nice when someone has to play a nasty card, but he's got to get rid of Voice of America. That's even nastier. Central America scoring went in 7. So I've got How I Learned to Stop Worrying. Then Gunman went in 7. I wasn't paying attention. And yeah, that's fine. So he retakes Africa. So I'll play How I Learned to Stop Worrying at the end to block the mill-ops and avoid the 2 VP loss. So the question is what I can do most damage with and where. He's overprotecting Panama, that's wise. I mean, another option is I try and space it to see his headline. 2/3. Yeah, so that's good. Headline peaking's a bonus in case he Aldrich Jameses me. But we're going to see with the reshuffle, it's going to be interesting. Because we're nearly through the back of all these cards. I've got How I Learned to Stop Worrying, which I'm playing in 7. He's played Muslim Revolution. He played it for Ops. I'm glad I forced him into playing it for Ops. So he's got OAS Founded. Fidel went. Pump into Argentina. You may have Olympic Games in the reshuffle. Anyway, I'm not going to do anything about that. I'm going to play How I Learned to Stop Worrying at DEFCON 2 for the mill-ops. We're into turn 8. I start with Grain Sales. I've got Aldrich James, but I don't have any bad cards to play with it. That's a bonus. I've got Captured Nazi Scientist for a guaranteed 3 points. This is a pretty nice hand for me. And I get to headline peak as well. I could hold Grain Sales to the next turn and Bear Trap him and coup as well, which is also quite attractive. And I've got VOA. The game's swinging my way, I have to say. Not necessarily deserving, but that's the way it goes. So, I've got Twitch. That's the only late war card. Oh no, Iron Lady. Anyway, so we'll see what he does. If he does headline... he headlines Lone Gunman. So I Grain Sales to deny him the coup. I don't have to worry about Lone Gunman, and I'm not in Iran, so I will take Iranian hostage for the coup. I'll use it to try and flip Angola. So if he's got terrorism, that will count against me, but I'm prepared to take that chance with less worry. I mean, Ortega is still a risk, of course, but with Captured Nazi Scientist and potentially spacing Aldrich, I might be able to get to the discard square for Ortega, unless he terrorisms me. Lone Gunman is gone in 8. And I Grain Sales him. I'd expect him to just put one in Angola here. Still waiting to see Warsaw Pact get invented, which he'll probably do when he has Europe scoring. One in Angola or one in Argentina, depending on what his scoring card is the most likely. Okay, so if I give him Aldrich Ames, I'm down to turn 6. So I kind of have to give him something. So I suppose I want to... Can you choose... This is an interesting one I've not seen before. Can he choose to play the event with Missile MV? I don't think he can he? So he has to take it for ops. Use the operations value without triggering an event. So if I play Iron Lady, he can't trigger it to gain Argentina. Why would you do that? Give me a VP, just play it for ops. So what's the most attractive one to give him? Iron Lady, I suppose, because I'm never going to event that to the Betrayer anyway, and I want to hold 5-year plan for some sort of malevolent discard. Okay, so he's basically saying, give me 3 ops for 2. I will give him Iron Lady. And I get Missile Envy next turn. So he knows he can cause me some shenanigans here in a 3 for 2 swap. But a 3 for 2 swap doesn't work for him great. He'll probably put 1 in Argentina and 2 somewhere else. Like, he can't flip somewhere because he's not near Nigeria. So he doesn't end up in a 2-for-1 situation. If I was him, I'd put 1 in Argentina, maybe 1 in Laos, Cambodia, although it doesn't really matter. 2 in Poland, I suppose. 1 in Argentina, 2 in Poland. Yeah. He's still hoping for Muslim Revolution, take Israel and claim control of the Middle East, which doesn't seem as possible, probable. Iranian hostage crisis was gone, so grain sales to him. So Star Wars is a suicide risk for him, obviously, so he needs to watch out for that. The Reformer is currently very attractive for him, so actually I need to play CNS as quickly as possible, really. I'm going to keep VOA as my ace in the hole, although I, of course, will use that likely to flip Angola to start, because that gives me African domination. And then I could use it to put pressure in Argentina or Panama. I've got Junta as well. The cards have been very nice to me. Turn 1 was pretty brutal, but actually it's come up alright since. Count my blessings there. Obviously, Europe's going to swing back his way with Warsaw Pact. So I guess my hold card this turn... Okay, overprotect Angola. Fine. That's sensible. Right. So I have to play Missile Envy. I'll pump it into Israel to keep the pressure on. Although I suppose I also want to make him event Warsaw Pact. So putting 1 into Poland and 1 into... He needs to play 3 ops to take Israel there. Nah, I mean, Poland's already under pressure. I think I want to keep the race on with Israel. Because I don't want to make... If he takes Israel, it makes Muslim Revolution very attractive. And Marie Barracks bombing clears me out. So I want to keep some pressure up and say you're never going to get Middle Eastern control. I probably want to hold Aldrich Ames here. I'd like to trap him at some point. Turn 7, most sensible. If I trap him, I get the next turn, and I hold Aldrich Ames for Ortega to discard to avoid Defcon suicide. Excuse me. So I think my turn goes CNS, 5-year for ops, Junta to do some crazy realigns in Panama probably. He's got decall, that's nice for him. So I put one there, and one back there. Tip for tap. He now wants to flip Nigeria, at which point I probably play VOA. Still looking for CNS. So now I don't need to worry about spacing, having thought about order of change. So 5-year plan went in 8. He's going for a coup to set up the double realign. Doesn't do very well. Overprotect, make it less attractive. I can put Thailand under pressure with VOA, but obviously Asia's currently swinging my way. So I kind of want to do more damage with it in places like South America, Panama. So he does get to the reformer in time. Junta's like a nice power card to keep. It's a shame I didn't get to the... I mean, 6 or 4. He's going to play Warsaw Pact next to retake East Germany, but obviously country counts on my side. So I either play Junta or Bear Trap for the ops to hold West Germany. The curse being I can't use Junta then, which is attractive. But if I Bear Trap him on turn 7, I get the coup anyway, unless he drops Defcon. So I play 2 into West Germany, forget Junta. He will event Warsaw Pact at some point. Tear down this wall, obviously, for me, currently is France realigning at 4-2, because he's in Algeria. I could take 1 out of Algeria with Voice of America in a bid to make that 4-1. And Solidarity is still to come. Obviously, the Reformer makes Glasnost unplayable to me. It's no longer a delightful 2VP ABM treaty. If he does have Europe scoring, it's 0 for now. Oh boy. So what do I want to do here? Man, do I want to give up on Bear Trap? Because Voice of America doesn't work in Europe. I think Captain Nazi Scientist is too good to give up on, really. So I think I give up the idea of using Bear Trap and hope for another Defcon dropping option. So I'll pop another one in Canada. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4. Just to make very clear, even if he takes Turkey, he doesn't get anywhere. He's got to space Cal, which he fails. And poor guy. So I'll VOA turn 7. I'm going to take 1 out of Algeria to make tear down this wall a realignment option instead of a coup option, probably, if I do get it. So then where else for VOA is the question. Yeah, so events Warsaw Pact, that's standard. So I event VOA. We know Warsaw Pact was coming back out. So the fact he had to salt it is good for me in a way, because it's kind of an unorthodox card to force him to salt. That gives me Africa domination, and 1 out of Thailand puts him under more pressure. I've got Central America, and South America's. So I suppose if he coups South America, he gets some headway. Although he can't coup South America if I'm... No, I think I leave Thailand as it is, and I threaten Algeria, Angola, sorry for the zoom, and 1 out of South, so 1 out of Argentina as well. That's probably the best spread. Now I get to peek at his headline, but what I can't do is drop DEFCON, but I can use nuclear subs and solidarity to cause some mischief. I could also choose to purge him, which is very nasty in turn 9. It's also my only high op card. We'll see what he headlines, and then I'll choose how to riposte. We've got 13 minutes left on his clock, because we're playing a 1-hour game. So he's going to start to feel under more time pressure. AWACS obviously prevents Muslim revolution, so I'd like to event that as well. If he headlines Muslim revolution, I can't, obviously. I've got a lot of eventable cards. An Evil Empire is good for cancelling firepower, but I've got no war cards. Kitchen Debates to snag 2 VP. Nuclear subs to coup crazy all over the map. CIA's gone. So he's not got so many DEFCON suicide, which is Star Wars, I suppose. Nuclear subs is bad because Star Wars is the DEFCON suicide option. So he's going to coup crazy. So do I choose to purge him to make his life very difficult? If I put 3 into... Yeah, okay, so if I play Solidarity, if he coups somewhere on the map, I can put 4 to go 7-4. Yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put him under pressure in Europe, because if he's forced to respond to that, he gives me the coup. If he doesn't respond to it, I take Europe. Let's see how that comes out. And please do give me feedback. You are very good at doing that, so I appreciate it. I've had lots of feedback along the way. So he's going to try for a realign of Nigeria, obviously. And that's fine. Ah, and a realign of South America, potentially, as well. South Africa, sorry. So he's trying to sew Africa up as his. He'll coup Angola first, which kind of forces me to... Well, I could put 3 into Algeria, but then he tries to realign Nigeria. 3 into Algeria is good because tear down this wall coming on later on works in my favour too. I think he has to coup, so he has to give me Poland, and he's not going to be happy about that. But at this point, I'm happy to let him run with Africa, because if he scores it, I play Kitchen Debates, Evil Empire, for example, and try and drive along the scoring bus to keep him below war games, which he may have. I may play Emit to see if I can get Africa and Middle East scoring out the deck before round 10 as well. Of course, he may play for ops. He may play Angola 2, Poland 2, for example, and then he's giving me the coup, which I'll take, happily. Okay, so, yep, NATO, Poland, and 1 into Argentina to level up. Okay, so he'll probably set up a realign on Nigeria, but there's nothing I can really do about that right now. The first thing I have to do is coup Angola, which I'll do with a 2-op card. Risky, but fine, because then he has to play for influence. Good enough. So I expect to see a realign on Nigeria right now. If not, I play into Cote d'Ivoire to make it 2-2. Kitchen Debates is currently unplayable again because of taking a break. He is going to go for the realign. So, poor sod. I mean, Jesus. He's really had a time of it with realignments. Where else do I want to play? Where's good for leverage? If I play one into Israel, I can try and take it and cause trouble with Saudi Arabia. No, that's not really going to score a lot. So I actually want to play Evil Empire and keep Purge. I could keep Purge I could keep Purge for turn 10 if I ditch Aldrich, but actually I want to hold Aldrich in case of Ortega because terrorism's a major risk. So I don't want to hold Purge, so I play Purge now. Maybe like that, just to say you've really got to come after me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alternatively, that gives me Africa domination, gives him more to think about. So this is the point in card tracking where everything goes kind of crazy. I know Star Wars is still out there in North Sea oil, Marine Barracks bombing, that's not great for me. Glasnost is still out there in Ortega, terrorism, Iran, Contra got played in 7, I remember seeing that. Chernobyl's still out there in my favour, but I don't have a surfeit of ops to kind of cause lots of trouble in Europe if he plays it. So he goes Marine Barracks. So I lose Omit. So I think I play Evil Empire to redress the balance. I obviously need to put one back in Lebanon, so if he does Muslim Revolution me before I get to play AWACS. So, not happy about losing Ronald Ray guns, really, but probably the best use of him there rather than 1 BP and cancelling Flower Power, because I've got none of the war cards. He plays Middle East scoring. Not enough to get up to the War Games mark. So I now look at Omit to see if I can... So I ditch terrorism. Ditch Fidel. Keep the other 2. 3, sorry. He doesn't like any of those. Ditching terrorism's good. AWACS is now a bit more superfluous. But I do need to watch the VP tracker, because we know War Games is still in the deck. He has to space that. He gets 1 more VP. So the question is, do I space AWACS and then try and space Aldrich if I succeed? Where can I exert more pressure? Because what am I? 2/3 and a half. I'm 1 in 3 to be able to space those 2 cards to get to the 4 BP mark. So I'm spending 6 ops for a 1/3 chance of 4 VP, which is not hot. So is pumping it into Poland more attractive to keep the pressure up in Europe? It probably is. And it also means if he does try and score it, he doesn't get 1 VP and get over the War Games mark. So that's probably alright. Probably at the moment. So he's one bleeding. Oh, good. He's got to give me Africa Smoke. So I'm also going to take Kitchen Debates for the extra 2 points. And then finish with nuclear subs. He's probably going to have to give me Asia or Central America as well. It's unlucky for him that's come unravelled slightly. Asia, yeah, so this is where it starts to go rather sour for poor old USSR, turn 10 and all. So I'm now threatening Poland and domination again. I've got Aldrich James to discard a nasty card in the last turn, although terrorism's out. I get to see what he does first. So I have the option of duck and cover if he drops DEFCON lower. I've got Cuban Missile Crisis to stop him cooing. I've got Brush War. Ugh. This is super gross for 6-nap. He was very unlucky. My turn 1 hand, it's not over yet, first of all. But also he got very unlucky. All of his Brush Wars and Indo-Pac Wars failed. I got a lot of the power cards. I got Junta twice. I survived the turn 1 onslaught. So yeah, he was very unlucky. Very unlucky, really. Yeah, fairly harsh. So let's think about turn 10. How many cards are left in the draw pile? Loads. We may see Glasnost, which would be good for him at this point. Another reason to Cuban Missile Crisis him, so he doesn't go off on a coup bender. Although Glasnost doesn't allow him to coup, it only allows him to place ops. Worth bearing that in mind. US can use it as an ABM treaty, but he can't. Okay, so he's ABM treatying. He'll probably go for Pakistan, which means Brush War's no good for me. What do I wish to do? If he sees duck and cover, he keeps DEFCON high, but I still get 2 VPs. I may be able to take Europe if he doesn't react there immediately, although he may just coup, watch DEFCON drop to 2, and move to Poland. I assume Voice of America's... Yeah, so Star Warsing VOA on turn 7 is probably what I'm doing. Cuban Missile Crisis comes after, and I don't get the duck and cover benefits. So I think I'm duck and covering. Yeah. Tell me if you think that turn 10 headline was awful. I'm intrigued to know. If he keeps DEFCON at 2, I could also Star Wars Cal for the ops. Because that gives me 4 ops, 2 VPs, and drops DEFCON if he doesn't drop it himself. So Star Wars VOA is just so attractive because it can cause so much damage right at the end of the game. So for example, I can remove Middle Eastern domination. So he's keeping DEFCON up a bit. Will he take a coup? No, he goes for Iran-Iraq war. He succeeds. That's nice. So I'll nuclear test ban to ensure Middle East can't control. Although we just talked about this. Do I Star Wars Cal? Which gives me the VPs. Star Wars in VOA is so attractive because I could take everything out of Central and South America. If I was to coup Libya, I then wouldn't get Reagan bombing it. So I've got a 50% chance of flipping it, a 2/3 chance of getting enough influence to put him under pressure, and I've got Brush War at 50-50 as a backup. So let's do that. I only succeed in clearing it out. The thing is, even with Middle East control, with me Star Warsing Voice of America, he's going to have a seriously hard time recouping enough cost. So now I'm just going to keep pressuring Poland. So all I'm doing here is basically saying, you want to do other stuff on the map. I'm not going to let you. I can even play Brush War if I think I can flip Poland, because I get domination since I hold Europe. So I'm basically keeping them under big pressure. Time to start scoring up. If things were to stay the way they are, I get 13 to his 10, 11. So he does not get to win if I keep pressuring him. He's got to do other stuff to the board. I mean, he can't, to some extent, he can't be distracted by it because it's one VP. He needs to pour 4 into Israel and find a way of denying another area's domination. So I'm just going to keep hammering away there. Do I hammer away Brush War? I think I keep it to try and flip something in the Middle East to deny control there. So I think I go Europe, Brush War, Star Wars for VOA, turn 7, remove South America and Central America and claim those presence lists, and that should be the game. Yeah, fine. So you can have Europe for 1 VP. He'll probably now take Israel. He may have to take it with the China card if he doesn't have Glasnost. Yep, I can try brush warring Libya at 50-50. Ooh, got about flower power. So he gets 10, 11, and I get 6, currently 10, 13. And I've got the China card. It's still worth doing. It fails, so I don't even get the 1 VP. But I hope to Star Wars VOA here on turn 7. And put the cat amongst the pigeons. So 1, 2, 3, 4 out of Central America, or I can deny him Middle East a 3 VP swing. That is all assuming. Yeah, Missile Envy's in the deck. If he Missile Envied me now, he'd take Aldrich James and strip Star Wars from me, but terrorism's gone too. So he's got 5 minutes left on his clock to try and do the most damage. Okay, so he's got presence in South America. So I Star Wars VOA. That's worth a swing from... Sorry, this is going to take me a little while to do. So don't go too far. Let's just... How are things as they stand? I'm scoring 6, 9, 13 to his 10, 14, 15, minus, so 13 to his 15, and I've got the China card. So I don't need to spend too long over this. So this may be suboptimal, but I think I gain 4 VPs there, 2 VPs there, and 3 VPs there. So he's now getting 7, 8. And that's all he's getting. So that's enough to swing things. So if there was a more optimal option there, let me know. But let's not fanny around. Clock's ticking. Okay, so it's been a while since you watched me win a game. So sorry if I was overly pensive, but I knew Sixnap was a good player. The time is now 8:42 p.m. and at 9 o'clock I'm playing KFC, which will be a separate video on YouTube. So if you want to tune in for a double header, go find that game. Yeah, so that was a pleasure. Thanks a lot. That's nice. I think the last time you saw me, I was in the 1600s. I've had a run of good form. I unfortunately kicked Sixnap back down into the 1700 block as well, but only by the skin of his teeth. He'll be back. We only get to play once in the league unless you all get through to the knockout stage, so I hope to see him again. But yes, please give me feedback. It's needed and welcome, and I'd be grateful. And tune in for the next game against KFC, our glorious moderator on Reddit. Feedback either on the YouTube thread, bearing in mind I post under a different Google account, so I don't see the feedback immediately. Apologies. If you want to message me directly, I'm username Cardlinger. So u/Cardlinger on Reddit, at Cardlinger on Twitter. But yeah, tell me what you think of my play. I don't think I was deserving, per se. I did weather the storm all right, turn 1 was brutal, but I made mistakes, and I want to improve. That's what I'm all about. So I'll take all feedback on the chin. Please don't be coy. Thanks again, and I'll see you in about 20 minutes for the next game. This one.